Shalom Israel. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, Deborah and the apostles, and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us truth, peace, and blessings to all like Israel, and Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the name nation Hebrew, Bahashem means the name, Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back on the lesson, and today, going to go into Russia making threats against the U.S. and Ukraine, as you're seeing the wars and rumors of wars that we are seeing, the tensions the Yahweh Shai is continuing to build up, which is going to reach a boiling point, a climax, which is going to be World War III. And what it's going to do, these are not just some simple threats you can make against an enemy nation. You know that you're going to nuke them, especially against the U.S., saying that if you get in their way, they're not going to hold back. You know, that they're not bluffing, which you recently also had a few months back. Russia making a similar threat, or just saying that they could wipe America out with just 3 missiles, if I'm correct, which I believe I made a lesson, touching on that. So I have a quick video just to, add more onto it, and we'll jump back into the article. I believe one more video, and that'll be that.
Sad Vlad has threatened to use nuclear weapons against NATO and Ukraine if they interfere with his plan to annex parts of Ukraine, adding that he's not bluffing, also claiming that Ukraine is pursuing nuclear weapons, which is a lie. But this is big.
So you're seeing those tensions are high, and that's Yahweh Shai building it up to that point to where that boiling pot is going to explode, man. It's going to reach that climax, the peak. Once again, it's going to be World War III. Let's go back to it.
Nuclear weapons, which is a lie. But this is big. It's the first time Vlad's personally threatened to use nuclear weapons. But I mean, threatening to nuke a country that doesn't have nukes, just peak beta behavior. But nuclear threats won't stop Western support to Ukraine because NATO has just as many nukes as Russia. With the president of the EU even saying, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing because we won't be blackmailed. Vlad, you're a short-sighted, irresponsible loser with zero credibility. The former U.S. commander to Europe said that if Russia uses a nuclear weapon on Ukraine, the United States will be forced to respond. And going on to say the U.S. would likely...
Wars and rumors of wars. The tensions are high, man. And, World War III is prophesied, in the Bible, man. It's in the scriptures, man. And you're seeing biblical prophecy happening before our eyes, man. Go back to Matthew, 24 through 8. Go into, wars and rumors of wars, which you are seeing.
Sink the Russia Black Sea Fleet or wipe out their troops in Crimea. And this comes after sad...
threatening to nuke, another nation. Yeah, that's a threat of war, I should say.
Vlad threatened to use nuclear weapons, and President Biden said that it would be a bad idea to do so, with NATO also calling Vlad's threats irresponsible.
So you see the main point. Read a little bit into this article, and we'll jump back into one more, and we'll jump into the scriptures, just to push a point across how War is also in the Bible, and just to push the point of how this is destruction. This is the destruction that's coming. That Putin escalated his war on Ukraine, announcing the partial mobilization of the country's reservists. He also threatened nuclear retaliation, saying ominously that this is not a bluff. And once again, it's not just some simple threats that you can just make. Saying that you're going to nuke Ukraine, you're going to nuke the U.S., So he said Russia may use them in defense, basically accusing NATO of making nuclear threats of its own. So read the other article that I got, and then I don't know why it brought me to a different article. It was a nuclear war is possible, which you also see on Twitter. World War III trending. Talks of war is in the air. But it says for the first time since the Cold War, conflict with a nuclear-armed peer is no longer theoretical. Admiral Charles Richard said. Navy Admiral Charles Richard, commander of U.S. Strategic Command, declared on Wednesday that for the first time since the end of the Cold War, the U.S. faces the possibility of nuclear war. And guess what? It's not just a possibility, it's a fact. And this is the destruction that is coming, especially to America, man. We're saying World War III is prophesied in the scriptures, man. But the U.S. faces the possibility of nuclear war with a peer-level opponent. As I mentioned earlier, you had Russia make numerous of threats to America, man. As well, you have China in the background saying certain things. Also, speaking at an Air Force organized conference in Maryland, Richard claimed that the U.S. would have to prepare to escalate quickly against possible opponents and to protect its homeland. Wars and rumors of war. All of us in this room are back in business of contemplating direct armed conflict with a nuclear-capable peer. Speaking of Russia, he said, according to a Pentagon summary of his comments, we have not had to do that in over 30 years, showing you we're nearing the end of this devil's kingdom. It's no longer a possibility. It's no longer a conspiracy. It's a fact, and this is what's coming, man. There's no getting around it. And jump to scriptures to push the main points, and you'll learn better find lesson. Get Matthew 24, 3 through 8, because these are major end-time signs and end-time prophecies, man, and these things need to take place before our Lord Yahushua makes his return. So we're just going to show that we're nearing the end of this devil's kingdom. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be a sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And it's going to list off those signs. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I'm anointed, and shall deceive many false prophets. Verse 6, main point, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Are these not rumors of wars? You know, Russia making threats against the U.S., Ukraine. America saying that if Russia continues to step in that direction, that they're going to be forced to step in, you know. So you're seeing the tension that Yahweh Shai is building up, which is going to lead to World War III. And y'all that don't repent and take heed, this is what's coming, man. And you not want to be taking part in this judgment that the Lord's finna bring upon this place, man. Verse 7, for a nation shall rise against nation, and can be against kingdom, and there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Which you're seeing all these things happening, man. Especially those earthquakes. You know, happened over there in Mexico, which I believe was a 7.6, if I'm correct. Over there in Taiwan, as well as many other locations, man. And it says all these are the beginning of sorrows. We're just in the beginning of these things, man. You know, you're still seeing things happening left and right. You know, and we're just in the beginning of it, man. Revelations 11:14 says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So it's going to the Second World War, and as we're here, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly, the Third World War, and it's coming quickly, man. You know, thermonuclear warfare is coming. As you read in that article, how it says that for the first time since the end of the Cold War, the U.S. faces the possibility of nuclear war with a peer-level opponent. And once again, as I mentioned earlier, it's not a possibility, because you're seeing it, man. Yahweh is not building up these tensions for no reason. Isaiah 34, 1 through 6 says, come near, ye nations, to hear and hearken. Y'all better listen, man, especially you heathens. This is what's coming to you. Ye people, let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. That's why Yahweh also set up his prophets, man. Verse 2 is, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. You're also going to have many of our people being destroyed and caught up in his judgment to come. So he that utterly destroyed them, he had delivered them to the slaughter. So their slain shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Verse 4, main point. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, going to that mushroom cloud, man, from those thermonuclear missiles. And you can see many photos, many examples, which you see in the thumbnail. Which I may use a mushroom cloud, or Putin's face, or whatever the case may be. But it says, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as falling fig from the fig tree. So for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. What is that sword? Those missiles, man, coming down from the sky. But those intercontinental ballistic missiles will be shot into the atmosphere, and will glide to the location it needs to be, and come straight down. And it says, behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, another word for Edom, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Those also going to destroy a lot of our people, man. Verse 6 says, the sword of Yahweh Shai is filled with blood. It is made with fat, or made fat with fatness, and with the blood of the lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord had a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And what would he do with the fat? You would throw it into the fire, man. And that's what's coming. Thermonuclear fire. And we'll prove right here, Isaiah 9:5. Also goes to show his words can be completely different. Because you have people that hear us say these things that, World War III is in the Bible. They would call us crazy, call us conspiracy theorists. But then we pull out these scriptures and they know what to say. This is, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood. And I always like to use the example of the movie 300. with clashing of shields, the sword screaming on the battlefield. But watch this, it says, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So showing you this war is going to be completely different than the rest, man. As the scripture also going to how we're heading some times that have never been seen before throughout history. Times like no other. See what the NLT says? It says, the boots of the warrior and the uniforms bloodstained by war will all be burned. They will be fuel for the fire. But reading time for the King James says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garment rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Completely different than any other war. Going to show that's talking about thermonuclear missiles, which you get more to prove it. 2 Ezra 16:13 says, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. And tell me what regular bow and arrow can be shot from one place of the earth to the end, to the other part of it. For like better words, Real time, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. So shot from one place to another. Showing he's not talking about just no regular arrow. Going to those thermonuclear missiles, man. When you look at those ICBM missiles, look how far they can be shot from one place to another, in a matter of minutes. Revelation 6:13 through 14. To add more onto it, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as the fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And those stars falling from heaven going to those thermonuclear missiles. And it says when she is shaken of a mighty wind, and that's going to the shockwave coming from those missiles, man. Which you'll see tons of videos coming out of the military doing tests of certain missiles, the radius of it, and you can see the shockwave heading towards them in the videos. That's what it's talking about, that mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll going to the mushroom clouds, so the wind is rolled together. And every mountain and island were moved out of their places. You're really going to have the earth shaken from how many missiles are going to hit this place, man. Says, add more onto it. Isaiah 24:20 says, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. When you see a drunk person, he's wobbling. He's not stable. Stumbling over his own feet, shaking. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and shall fall and not rise again. Going back to Isaiah 13, how this place will never be inhabited again. It's going to be destroyed for good. But as we just read, how this place can be shaken up, man. Going to those missiles, man, once again. Got to constantly push that point across. 2 Peter 3:10, to add more onto it, says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. Come as a thief, come unexpected to those that are not watching and being vigilant and being careful in the times that we are in. Those that are not preparing, once again being watchful and being vigilant, it doesn't come unexpected, man. Come as a thief unto you. But in the which the heaven shall pass away with a great noise. Those explosions, man. Because this is this devil's heaven. Esau Edom. This is his kingdom. In the which the heaven shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And what types of weapons and anything that can emit that type of heat in order to melt the elements? Steel, stone, and all these different things, man. You've seen a good example in the movie The Terminator. I always like to use that example every now and then, but don't want to get copyrighted or but you see, it's one of the old ones, but she's at the playground and you see a missile go off in the background, and everybody's completely just burned and turned to dust, man. The steel cages around her, basically evaporated, vaporized. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. But then the elements shall melt with fervent heat, the earth also, and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Thermonuclear warfare is coming, man. World War III is prophesied in the scriptures, as we read multiple scriptures to prove it, man. But see, Jeremiah 50:29 say, call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow. Because you're also going to have many nations rise against Babylon to come against her. So I believe, man, I thought I had Jeremiah 59. Let's get that real quick. And we'll jump back into the 50 and 29. Thought I had that script already. We're going to what I was saying, how you're going to have many nations rise up and come against America, man. Babylon the Great, the whore. Jeremiah 50:9. So for lo, I'll raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. So you have these nations go against America. Which you see China, Russia, start to, stand up, being aggravated, man. Russia making threats against the U.S. if they step in on their business with Ukraine. Once again, those tensions that Yahweh is building up, which is going to lead to World War III, which is the main goal, man. These things need to happen in order for us to get to the kingdom. Because people look at us crazy, look at us weird when we say we can't wait for this place to be destroyed. That thermonuclear warfare is coming, and they'll look at us like we're bugged out, man. And look at us weird because we're excited that these things are happening, because hey, these are things that need to happen in order for us to get to the kingdom. But let's take on the main point, Jeremiah 59 one more time. And it says, for lo, I will raise and cause to come against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence shall she be taken. Their arrows, you see arrows being mentioned again. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. So showing you those arrows, those missiles, are going to hit their mark. They're not going to collide and explode in the air and miss their mark. Yahweh is going to direct those missiles in order to hit their mark, man. So let's get back to Jeremiah 15:29 to add more on to that point, to how we're going to have many nations arising against Babylon. So call together the archers against Babylon. Those nations, all you that bend the bow, camp against it round about, let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she had done, do unto her. For she has been proud against the Lord, against the Holy One of Israel. So showing you stuff is going to pay, and that a destruction is coming to this place, man. So I have 3 more scripts, and we'll close it out. Isaiah 13:10-13, to go into how this place will never be inhabited again. It said, for the stars of heaven and constellation thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Go into those mushroom clouds, the sky being filled with smoke from all the different explosions. Verse 11. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. So you proud Israelites, especially you proud Edomites, man, the heathen nations, are going to be brought low. Especially, America, these devils think that they're going to be untouchable, that, that they have never fallen. Guess what? That pride is going to be their downfall, man. I think I should have probably got Joel, to go into these nations preparing to go to war, starting to stand up in the face of America, Let's continue on. Verse 12 is how I make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Which the main point is 13. So therefore I will shake the heavens and the earth shall remove out of her place. Did we not just read how this place will shake as a drunkard man, reel to and fro? How we're going to have mountains and all these different things be out of place. Let's go back to that. Bear for a minute. Forgot exactly the scripture I got that went into it. But let me get the main point. Thought I had it earlier up here. But let's just finish it off. Don't want to drag this out. But therefore I shall shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, and the wrath of the Lord and the wrath of Yahweh shall have host in the day of his fierce anger. And these are the last few verses, just to push the point. And it says, in Babylon the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Back then it was by the way of fire and brimstone, but this time it will be by the way of thermonuclear missiles, as read in Isaiah 9:5, and multiple scriptures just to push the point across and to prove it. Verse 21 said, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there. Or sorry, let's go back to 20. And it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And the owls shall dwell there, and the satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in the desolate houses, and dragons in the pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So you're seeing the destruction that's coming to place and how it will never be inhabited again. Because once again, as you mentioned earlier, how these guys are prideful, thinking that they're going to be untouchable, and that's going to be their downfall, man. That script's also going to how their inward thoughts of the houses shall continue forever, which is not the case. Script's going to how they're set to rule for a certain period of time, and you're seeing his time running out, and these devils know it. As the Ephesians 5:15 through 16, going to be how we got to be watchful and be vigilant, man. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. It's running some very evil and scary times, and we need to be watchful of the times that we're in. Watching prophecy, especially those that are prophets and as teachers, need to be vigilant and have our eyes open. As we're going to, I believe, Isaiah 68, if I'm correct, maybe 66, but going to how the Lord has said, watchmen upon towers that hold not their peace day nor night. So we need to keep our eye open, man. Sound the alarm so our people are prepared and are made ready and are made well aware of the warnings, man. Redeem the time, because the days are evil. Let's get Habakkuk 2 and 3, because these are the times that we are in. Said, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because surely come, it will not tarry when we're in those appointed times, man. You're seeing these major end time prophecies playing out before our very eyes and taking place as we speak. The wars, the tension that the Lord is building, which is going to reach that climax, that boiling point, man, which once again is going to lead to World War III. As I mentioned earlier multiple times, it's not going to be a possibility, it's going to be a fact. And we have the scriptures here to prove it. And you're seeing the prophecy literally playing out before our very eyes, man. The wars, the rumors of wars, and all these different things that are taking place and happening. As we're also in the book of Matthew 24:3-8, those end time signs, those end time prophecies that will take place before Lord Yahushua makes his return. So, Lord, you're edified. It's like I've kind of rambled on a little bit, but you see the tension that Yahushua is building. You're seeing Russia making those threats against the U.S. and Ukraine, and how it's like the U.S. is going to be forced to step in if Russia continues down that direction of using missiles. So hey, Yahushua is building it up, man. He's orchestrating these things, and y'all that don't repent and take heed to these warnings will be caught up in this judgment to come. And hey, you don't want to be on the receiving end of this judgment that the Lord's going to bring. A scary and terrifying thing, but I fear the Lord. So, once again, your Lord and your edified, I do and give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Mashah, Bashem Kakadash, the Apostles, and elders, great millstone for teaching us this truth. Peace and blessings to all of Israel, and Shalom. See you next one.